you separate people for what they biologically need and emotionally need, so that they become sort of just distant molecules. And because family then is sort of looked down upon, then they do not look for that in cultural products either.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you attack the culture from all sides at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, you as I know, the critical theorists are trying to find that source of conflict within every sphere of society.
Yeah.
You could see it in the cultural field. That has been happening with art since more than 100 years. I mean, at the end of the 19th century, there was already this kind of criticizing or questioning all these things.
Traditional values.
Yeah, the traditional values.
Yeah.
And that was something that in a way was allowed in art and culture, but nobody thought that those criticism will suddenly spread all over what a culture and a civilization is.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about it listening to Lindsay. It just struck me that I think we have a really powerful and rich material to bring to the whole discussion of what critical theory is and how it disintegrates values and society. Because as you say, and I've been thinking so much about this, what is happening now is basically an artification of society at large.
Yeah, in every
because
field.
we are used to a situation where if you try to work in a Greco-Roman way, then you belong to the old regime.
Yes,
that is based upon prejudices and injustice.
Yeah,
and those have to the pyramid like Nerdrum has been talking about, the pyramid with the most difficult things on top. That is reflected in in art, so that what is easiest is on top and opposite. And what happens then is that we've been living with critical theory for like 120 years.
Yes.
In practice.
Yeah.
And what really led me to it was when Lindsay was talking about how critical theory is all about, like we were talking about power play, power struggles between people. And what happened is, then he uses the example, how is it? He's talking about admissions to university or high school or whatever. And he talks about if such a group with such a skin color does not have the same percentage in the school as in the society, then there's a bigoted system.
Then you find a conflict there because there must be a systematic racism there because there's no equal representation of those
and those are some key terms we need to address because so what they do, I was uncertain if you said that it had been done or if they want to do it, but the problem then is the test you have to take to get in. Because then that's obviously bigoted towards certain groups. So you get rid of it. And I was thinking, have you ever experienced something like that within painting? That's the whole history of modernist painting, is that you take away all criteria.
Oh, yes.
And you say that those who were bad at painting, they were oppressed for all this time, now they shall be on top.
Then now is the time when they wish they have an opportunity.
Yeah.
So the ones that were actually doing something before, that was already your time has passed. And now we have to balance the whole thing and bring some space and opportunity to the ones that are not very capable to do something good.
Yeah, but that is critical theory.
Yes, it is. And also this thing about Lindsay that talks about that the diversity that is allowed within this way of thinking is only the diversity that thinks the same as them.
Yeah.
So it's not about which diversity is quite fine. I mean, if you have a space in which we can talk about certain things and another person with another way of thinking puts on attacks you on an argument or whatever, that's fine, because that could help you to develop better your point of view or your values or your standards. But here is only the diversity as long as everyone thinks the same.
Yeah, diversity of skin color, not of thought.
No, not thought, because
or sexuality or whatever.
Yes, I mean, well, but it's disguised as a diverse, but it's a homogenic crowd in a way that is also everything based on conflict. That everyone should find a position of oppressed and an oppressor. So of course everyone has that. Everyone feels like that way. So that's the core of it. The conflict of that minority or that molecule that will always find oppressed by someone.
Yeah. So it's like well, fucked if you do, fucked if you don't. It's an impossible equation to get out of if you buy the premise. But I'm thinking that there's another thing too, because this is sort of morphing together. So when they talk about, and now as we speak, critical theory has come to Norway and is just up and running immediately. I mean, because I was thinking then, well, okay, when they see that within mathematics you have to talk about gender and these things instead of mathematics, and the discipline is being destroyed. Well, that's what happened with ceramics when it was accepted as art. Then it just gets destroyed. Every discipline that is accepted as art gets completely dismantled.
Yes.
And then you get, this is really interesting, then you get the situation where you know, we have to talk about the conservatives too, because there are such a low level generally among them when it comes to understanding culture. And the typical sort of conservative idea is like, oh, look at what's going on in art. Oh, how horrible, how can they do it? And they think that if you're doing sort of performance or whatever, that's like the most radical art you can get, thought they. Because what is happening now is that we're getting art 2.0. And that is completely putting whatever you make aside. And you get now in the art school in the state art school in Norway, you get critical race theory. They want that, they want colonial studies. In short, the point is an ideological purification of society, not to create anything. No. And then so you get critical theory into art, and you get art out in society, and there's the same thing.
It's never about construction. It's also, they all of them talk about deconstruction. I mean, this is deconstruction of the gender, deconstruction of the identity, deconstruction of culture, and well, deconstruction is destruction. It's just a nice word to, and that. Yeah, as long as you use the terms that fits the ideology that they are promoting, doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you do a proper painting or you just spread some painting on the floor. It's just only if you fit with those ideology that you will get support by the state or support by society or whatever. And this is something that, as you say, has reach a high level or point in Norway, but you can also go to South America and you can also see the same way of they operate and they manage the whole culture. I mean,
but has it been like that? Is that also coming to South America now, you mean?
Now, I mean, now it's happening. I mean, it has been happening for quite a while in art. But now this,
but now as critical theory.
Now as critical theory in every field of society and culture. This is why it's a sort of a social and cultural war. And that has reached South America very strong. And now you see the consequences of that deconstruction and to turn everything down and to criticize everything that has been made by the conventional culture or the things that were made before. So now you can see the whole kind of deconstruction of a whole society in Chile, for example.
But I mean, has that sort of been propelled then by the current situation with the political unrest and all these things, or is it?
I mean, it has been there for quite a while, but nobody thought that that could spread all the way into every field of society. I mean, a country, for example, in Chile, South America, people that, for example, believe that bringing economical stability, like the more progressive libertarians or conservatives there, that they thought that just bringing a better income to every citizen, the chance to have the choice to buy a new cell phone or to buy a new car or to buy a new TV and to go to the shopping mall to have some fun and to buy something and go back home was enough as a cultural life. And maybe bringing some movies from Hollywood into the cinemas there so people could have a cultural life. And it was fine for them. And they believed that culture was just a matter of fairy tales. So we don't care too much about that. We are more focused on hard, cold facts of economy, showing you an Excel in which you could see on a graph that the economy was going up like that. But they thought that that was enough. But on the other side, in the university or critical theorists were bringing you another way of looking at life, that life was not just to consume things, not to just buy a cell phone, but you can actually change the world.
Thank you for checking out this clip from the Cave of Apelles. If you want to see the entire segment, become a $5 patron at patreon.com/caveofapelles and access all our Dark Flame videos, masterclasses and bonus material with our guests.